Good morning, everyone. I am here to show you how to make insanely large trees, like bigger than the redwood trees in the mega taiga biome. I've prepared a little bit of some extra things. We're going to start with oak, and we'll move our way up, because oak was kind of the first of these. So let me just grab these, and we'll come over here. So oak normally only spawn it like this wimpy little thing, right? Well, we would like something bigger. Well, you can go like this, and you grow each one separately for oak, but you can go like this, and you can grow it to be like the big jungle ones. And don't worry, I've prepared you a little example of how insane these things can get. And that's just barely scratching the surface. But you can just keep growing around them. You can grow it like this, and I prefer to have it nice and square, so I'm just gonna do this, and then I'm gonna have a nice square tree in the end where it's all been perfect, but yet it is huge. And this is just oak. This isn't even spruce or jungle. This is just oak. If this is insanely large, oh whoa, that one just grew on its own. If this is just oak, what do you think the others are gonna look like? Is that starting to seep into your mind how insane these things can be? So now that we've got a extra large oak tree, that's not the insane. At the end, I'll show you what's the insane one. Anyways, we're moving on to spruce. And if you remember, in the 1.7 update, they added these mega spruce trees, which are bigger than jungle sometimes, but yet they're still only 4x4. Well, you can get bigger. For example, just grow a few of the mega spruces next to each other, and you will end up with an even bigger tree. And all you have to do is just go around the entire tree and just keep planting them as much as you'd like them. And once you've got it as big as you'd like, that's all you need to do. But they can even get bigger. So you're just seeing a very small detail. I've played around with this a little, and maybe at the end I'll show you some of the things I've done with these. And then next I'm going to do an episode on something really cool that you can use extremely large trees for. And that's good. So this is just small compared, but it's still really big. Anyways, now we're gonna go move on to birch. And birch, like oak, need need to be grown one at a time because they don't grow 4x4. But still, birch, huge trees, that's one thing. It's another thing to have insanely big birch trees. And I've even thought of doing like walls and castles out of trees. Because it's going to be simple now that you can just grow them like this. And just one thing you might want to know. Oh wait, no, that's a different tree. Never mind. I'll tell you when we get there. But I spent a while prepping for this. I hope you enjoy. And these things can be enormous. Just letting you know. I'm just showing you very, very small examples. Just trying to get the picture of how big these things. Oh, come on, Bunny. You're gonna suffocate. I'm sorry, Bunny. Oh.
No real animals were harmed in the recording of this video.
True. But still.
Virtual.
So that is just small birch tree. That's still small, but look at it. Think of the possibilities. I mean, you could probably build a wall out of this stuff. Anyways, our next one will be jungle. Oh, whoops. And you can get two different types of jungle. You can get the really small jungle, where it's just a single one, yet they're still taller than oak, and they're just a little bit smaller than spruce. Or you can get the bigger version of the jungle, which is even bigger. But that's still not big enough for some people. And so you can go even bigger. And all it takes... Whoa, whoops. That's the mess up with the bone meal. Oh, that grew. Cool. Anyways, they can get even bigger by combining many of these larger versions of the jungle tree to become even larger. And this one's still not big enough for you. Go bigger, like this. This could be, how big do you think you can make these? So people have all done those maps where they make really big trees because they need something for, like, in Magma they needed a sacred tree for the village, and so they used a map download to make a really large tree. Well, with this, they don't need to anymore. This was possible in 1.7, but with the bug fixes of 1.8, it became really easy. Next, we're going to do acacia. And acacia are found in savanna biomes where you find they can grow pretty much anyway. But they don't, like the oak and the birch, you have to do them separately. But see this? That is one defect that these trees can have. Not really a defect, but one oddity about them. So, if you can do this, what else could you do? you can probably build like houses and stuff. I'm going to test that and make another video on that next. But this is just small compared to what you can do. But what limits are you willing to go to? Would you fill up your whole world over this? Or would you build a mansion out of a tree? The possibilities are endless. It's whatever you choose. And this is still just small, but it's starting to get, are you starting to get an idea of how big these can be? And then we will now move on to dark oak. The one, personally my favorite, but they, unlike most, you have to, sorry, dry throat. These have to be grown in a larger, in the larger form. And usually when you find these in the dark oak biome, you don't normally, it's like it forms a canopy and the trees grow close together. But they still aren't big enough for me. And so I experimented around and I found that they can be infinitely big, like seriously big. And so this is still not big enough for you. Go more. And more. And even more. And if it's still not big enough, you bet, go more. And with the little help from my friends, I've been able to put together one to show you just possibly putting what this looks like to a whole new level, where you actually see how insanely big these can be. Like this jungle. This is a ton of them, all formed together to make this huge monstrosity of a tree. And with all its branches and stuff, it can form quite a mess. But it can also be a great source of wood, and like I said before, they can probably even make pretty good houses. This isn't even, it's not quite as big as the jungle, but I didn't really have time. But still, you get the picture. Really, really, really big. Well, that's it for today, and this is what I've found for this. Leave in the comments anything you'd like to know, and I will experiment around and see what I can find out. And then I will post a video on it. Thank you, and goodbye.